See anybody say something, you want to holler at him, you certainly can.
Oh, okay. Oh, there is a lag up there. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I won't watch that at all.
There's lag. Alright, give me a sec here. Let's see here. For me. What are you working on?
Well, there's a lot of things that come to mind, but I was playing with just messing yesterday, and it was just like an E minor. Actually started out, I think, E minor, but the progression was more like. No. We got some time here. But I thought about that yesterday. I was looking over your history and where you came from. I was like, oh, GIT. Ooh, okay. You know. So I kind of tried to look for. I always come up with little hooky type things, because when I write, I really try to find bigger chord structures. I don't hear a lot of that these days.
Go on. What do you mean by that?
Well, okay. I look at the 70s, and it was kind of like they came up with some interesting things. Prog rock shot off of one direction. You had fusion.
Let me stop you for 1 second. Mark Nooney, everybody.
Hi, how you doing? I'm so sorry.
Let me introduce
you. We've been talking for over 40 minutes already, and we've had to stop conversations.
Because he's one of the people that actually came over on time. We were joking because I was like, everybody I invite over, they come over 5 minutes to go with a fly ring.
Right.
And he's there. And he's like, yeah, man, I got my combo, I got my board, and what do you want to do for the next half an hour?
I know.
But anyway, this is Mark Nooney from the local band Wheelhouse.
Yep.
And we'll talk about all your different stuff. But let's go back. So talk to me about this chord structure thing.
Oh yeah. So I
Just want to make sure that the world knows who you are.
Well, good. I like that. The chord structures. I hear bigger things. All right. I really have come from a jazz background. All right. I grew up playing rock and roll. I grew up playing Stones and Long Train Running, China Grove, Madman Across the Water. Those are all things. But even Madman Across the Water was kind of cool because you had that whole A minor D7 thing. It was the first 2/5 I ever got to play with. It was extended solos.
So I'm not familiar with that song.
Oh, Elton John.
But or maybe I just don't know the title. But that move right there, that like part of that groove, that's like one of my favorite things to solo over.
Well, that's one of the easiest things to solo over as a beginner.
Yeah.
Right? Like Connie Atkinson was one of my professors at Middlesex County College, and he'd write great charts, big band horn charts. I mean, this was a full big band, and he finally talked to me into showing up, right? I was majoring in music, and I just didn't,
He was like, commit to it.
Yeah, commit. Come in, bring your guitar, you'll be fine.
You can do this.
Yeah, you can do this, right? Because he knew my guitar teacher. And so we got to like the first thing, and band director, he's up there leading. He's pointing to the trumpet. Trumpet player stands up, does 16 bars, sits down. Points to sax player, points to keyboard player, points to me. I was like,
awesome.
I was like, oh my God, what do I do? But I just started playing against the D minor. It was a D minor G7 change, and it was kind of like a Latin groove, so it kind of fell into the rock thing at the same time. I didn't know the difference of grooves at that point in time, but I kind of fell into a little bit of a Santana, like do like the D minor G7 thing, but keep kind of Latin. It's just all of a sudden just came so natural. But with him, we were looking at bigger chords. We were playing Chicory of Spain in a big band. And I'm sight reading charts at that point. Not single note chord, but that's where the bigger structures came in. So moving through the 70s, going into like fusion, the first jazz Mahavishnu orchestra. I think we were the first. Like high school dances was our thing back then, right? That's
Wait a minute, are you really trying to do Mahavishnu and then go right to high school dances? You're not telling me those things.
We did mix. We did Birds of Fire, and think about it.
Because when I think high school dance, that's
back then, right?
Yeah,
it's a whole different thing. It's Long Train Running. Actually, it was killer period for guitarists because you had all this funk going on with disco, and like nobody wanted to hear anything about that. That was the high school dance.
Keep going, you're good, man.
But all these things started to combine in my history. Yeah. They all combined in my history, and I was going to tell you this story, which really kind of led me to be a guitarist. There was a magazine that was shoved in newspapers. It was called The Parade. Sundays.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And in the back of it, one weekend, there was an interview with Elliott Randall.
Okay.
Elliott Randall is a studio guitarist out of New York. This was 72, maybe even 1971. And so I'm reading this article about what he did and how he just finished the Steely Dan Katie Allied album, Can't Buy a Thrill album. He was all over that. And, did commercials and played with Simon and Garfunkel. And, that was his job. That was his job. And I was like, I want that job. That's what I want to do. So that's what spurred me to start taking guitar lessons, listening to bigger things. Like Steely Dan is still one of my absolute all-time favorites. Again, the big chords. Yeah. Big structures, long phrasing. It's not
super long phrasing.
Super long phrasing. and when you come from a jazz rock point of view, you can really play some lines against that stuff.
Yeah.
You can get and everybody they used was just incredible. But so this Elliott Randall character was like this light at the end of the tunnel. That's what got me to do most of what I do and take the chances I take with the different bands I played in and different feels I go for. So long story, years and years later, I'm at the NAMM show, and who walks by but Elliot Randall?
Right.
You know? And I was just, I was like a little kid.
That's the beauty of NAMM, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Just these people just like walking by.
Yeah, walking by, coming in, picking up the instruments in your booth, going, oh, that's
waiting
cool.
in the beer line, pissed off like everybody else.
Yeah. I don't see some of those guys in the beer line for some reason. But yeah, so I actually got to meet him and told him my story, and he was just like he was so gracious and so humble, and he was like, oh, I'm glad I had a good influence on your life. And
That's very cool.
It was such a wonderful story.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I think back to what that inspired me to do over the years. It inspired me to go to Berkeley. It inspired me to take lessons from anybody that I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
You know, and study all genre.
Yeah.
I mean, I've studied classical. I've studied Joe Pass type jazz. You know.
Now, what did you major in Berkeley? Did you do the jazz route? Did you do the classical route? Or composition? What did you do?
Yeah. Okay. So with Berkeley at the time, I'm kind of geeky when it really comes down to it.
We all are.
We all are, right? I mean, we got tons of crap all over the place.
This is who we are.
So I walked into Berkeley with the mind of I'm going to be a guitarist, and it's quite a frightening. You probably remember going to the GIT auditions.
Oh yeah, and I was not ready.
Yeah, devastated.
Yeah,
you're sitting there next to players that can eat you for lunch.
Yeah,
you know.
Especially, I think we were talking about it a little bit upstairs. Like the reading in particular.
Yes.
You know, I had been playing forever. I had chops, but I couldn't read at all.
Right.
And my knowledge of theory was basically non-existent. And there were these kids that, you know, were, I guess from whenever they started, they had teachers that like drilled it home in them. And like, I'm sitting there just trying to put basic stuff together.
Right.
And like, whew, got in by the skin of my teeth. But yeah, it changed my life while I was in there.
Right. So.
Yeah.
You know, the line for, you know, figuring out your rating, I don't know if GIT does a rating, but when you go to Berkeley, you get rated.
Really?
Yeah.
So you come in and you're like, this guy's a D-.
Well, it's, yeah. It's actually levels like 4 through 9, okay? 9 being like Steve Vai.
Uh-huh.
You know, just, you can't touch him. You can't even get close to him. You know?
There's no 1, there's no 10. It's 4 through 9.
4 through 9. Well, if you're below 4, you're not there.
Right.
You know, if you're above 9, you're probably working.
Right. That's it. You're not in education.
You're not in education.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I started out theory-wise pretty high because, you know, I had 2 years of junior college in theory, and Connie, he was very good at belting out theory. And then playing-wise, my soloing was pretty high. So it was 3 numbers. 3 numbers. It was for guitarists. Yeah, I think all instruments had 3 different numbers, but they applied to different things.
Mm-hmm.
So one of them was reading, which is what was, you know, I got a basic 4 in that, you know, and then soloing I ended up with like a 5, and then chords I ended up with a 5.
Right.
You know, so they guide you that way. They push you into.
This is where you start.
This is where you start. These are the
Right.
things you need to go for, and they try to hook you up with teachers that are the same. You know, he's lacking in reading, so you know we give you to a guy that's just going to beat you with a stick. You know, that's just the way it is. Yeah, you're reading stuff and changes key in the middle of it. You know,
Right,
and it's
right.
like, you know. But I could read charts really well. You know, and if I took the moment to get the single note line together, then I was okay.
Right.
You know. So through that whole process, as you went along, the knowledge that you gained at Berkeley was based on where you went to. So you asked me my major, and I walked into the studio one day, and I looked at this board with all these knobs and these faders, and you know I'm looking out in the room, and I said, this gets me closer. This gets me closer to the Elliot Randall thing. This gets me closer to the Elliot Randall thing, because that's always been my drive. I wanted to be a studio guitarist. Then I learned about Larry Carlton and Lee Ritenour.
So you wanted to be a studio guy.
I really did.
Yeah.
I really did. And
Because you wanted to be on those records.
I wanted to be on the records. I wanted to have a 9-to-5 job, basically. You know, because
Imagine that.
Imagine that, right? Because these guys, I mean, in the heyday of New York, Memphis, Chicago, and L.A.
Yeah.
You know, you got to call it, your book was full. Oh, I have to be at this studio at 7:30, and then at 10:30 I got a break, and then I'm at a film score at 1, and then I'm off to the bar at 5:30 for after dinner drinks, you know. And, to me it was exciting because you were playing all sorts of different music.
Yeah.
And all sorts of different music. And Berkeley kind of led me to that because any guitar ensemble I could get into, any ensemble, I would lie, steal, and cheat to get into a higher level ensemble to get the chops.
So let me ask you this. So at Berkeley, did you, like when you say ensemble, do they had different genre ensembles?
Oh, yeah.
And then how much, was that like an elective type thing?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Gotcha. And so
it was 1 credit.
And did those bands perform on a regular basis, or was it like once at the end of the semester? How did that
No,
work?
you didn't even perform.
You didn't even perform?
You went and you played, and they rated you while you were playing.
The reason I'm asking is because I actually a fair amount I get questions from people about like how GIT is kind of like different than Berkeley.
Right.
And the main thing is that GIT, like, I wouldn't say that like they don't focus as much on the reading and the theory and all that stuff as Berkeley, because that might be true, but what really happens when you go to GIT is the performances. You are required every week, well, you can do up to 10, but you're required to do a minimum of, I don't know, maybe it's like 5, but like every single week you have to do these live playing workshops.
Wow.
And so in between each of your classes, and you have, theory classes, single string, improv, harmony, whatever it is, everybody goes and they sit in the main auditorium. And these live playing workshops are always in the main auditorium. And the production people are working on their smoke and their lights and stuff. The sound people are working on their sound.
Sure.
And everybody signs up for a song. So you get a bass player, drummer, guitar player, keys, whatever's for that song. And there's 10 of them each day. So you have a funk one, a reggae one, a jazz one, a blues one, whatever.
Yeah.
And each week, each genre gets a specific song. And they would give you the charts, and in those days, it's obviously pre-internet. They'd give you a CD in the library you could listen to.
Sure.
But 10 times a week, you got to go in there with people that you've never played with before. Got to know your parts, and you got to do it on stage.
Yep.
And sometimes you kill it because it's your comfort zone.
Yep.
And sometimes you completely shit the bed.
Yep.
And you're terrible.
Yep.
Or someone else does, but like. That's like the biggest thing I always tell people when they're like, "What's GIT like? Is it like this, that, or the other?" It's like it's just performance boot camp.
Sure.
That's really what it is.
Most guys that I've met, and this is not an unusual story. We've had guys come from GIT when I was at school, right?
Yeah.
And you're at Berkeley and GIT is like, oh.
Is that true?
Yeah. And
because
it's
GIT,
the opposite.
that's the opposite.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, GIT, it's like boot camp. This is more educational.
That's
That's
how it feels. But the point I was trying to make is that most of the people there, I feel like, really wanted to be studio musicians because of all the different genres you play, the different people you play with.
Yes.
Where like people that go out and they join a band, and even if that band does really well, you're playing with the same people, playing the same songs.
Yep, the whole thing.
Like
no extension, no growth.
Yeah. Anyhow, we're going on a tangent here.
Yeah, well, of course. And I think the beauty of this program, and quite honestly, is the ability to go on tangents.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I love that.
So, getting back to the studio thing, so Tommy Tedesco,
Yeah.
all right, if you're a guitarist, if you don't know him, you need to find him. He's passed, but he was like the stellar, he was the epitome of studio guitarist. And his first articles back in the day when Guitar Player magazine started up, he would be like, they asked me to play a Chinese thing. And then they asked me to play like, a Mediterranean thing. Everything was fourth to him, and it all worked, And so time goes by, and I'm at Berkeley, and they have him in as a guest lecturer.
Uh-huh.
So here's the Berkeley Auditorium, which is a phenomenal stage. I got to play it twice. You don't get in there if you don't have your band together. Yeah. But anyways,
you got to go through a lot of filters.
A lot of filters to get there.
Yeah, okay.
And Gene and I had 2 shows there, but. So what it boils down to is here's a room. I think it seats 1,400.
Yeah.
they're all guitarists. All right, we're all in there wanting to capture all the words of Tommy Tedesco. And he says, I got one big question out for you here. You know, how many out here want to be studio guitarists? And like the whole room, woo, woo. He says, how many people are going to go to L.A.? Woo, 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 woo. And he says, look around, that's your competition. And be honest with you, I don't want you there.
Yeah.
Because I'm the guy in L.A.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
It hit me like a rock. You know, it was like, he said, go to a smaller venue. Be the big fish in a small water.
You know, it's so true. I have a buddy of mine. I don't know if he's watching Noah, but we were talking the other day. And we were talking about moving to big towns. You know, he's thinking about having to move in his life or whatever. He's a phenomenal guitar player. And, you know, a lot of people are moving to Austin these days. You know,
cool place.
Obviously Nashville, you know, whatever. And he was like, you know, it really doesn't do me any good if the dude bagging my groceries is a better guitar player than me. He's like, I kind of want to move to a place where, like, I'm kind of a big deal and there's lots of people and there's lots of work.
Right.
And I'm not struggling.
Sure.
And that's a cool perspective to hear, you know, because I think everybody's, you know, it's hard to find, you know, that humility and that gratitude to be like, you know, you don't have to be this and move to this biggest town. Like, you can make a living with this thing in a much smaller pond, as you were saying.
Yeah.
And still work your ass off.
Yeah, you still work your ass off.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, I quote Mozart in the movie.
Amadeus.
I love that movie. I do too. But his father had a great line. He said, how many students do you have?
Yeah.
You know? And he goes, I'm too busy for students. You know? But, you know, quite honestly, musicians over the years, we've had to learn how to make money at what we do. So when I first graduated Berkeley, I followed Tommy's, you know, well, there was a number of reasons we moved to Houston, but that was part of it. Houston was a smaller pond.
Yeah.
All right. So
still a huge town.
Huge city. You know, lots of variety, distinction all over the place in it. I mean, but by going there, you know, I got a gig as a guitar teacher almost right away because I graduated Berkeley. Right. I had 40 students at the time when you had to physically, you know, you've got a wire, dude. I mean, you know.
I appreciate it, but I mean, this only started because I taught in person for so long.
Yeah. See,
and
you have to teach in person.
Couldn't take any more students.
Yeah. And so I started teaching like right away. You know, I went from I started out with 10 students and then 20, and then the word passed. You know, that Sunlight Guitar had a good guitar teacher, and my predecessor there was a Berkeley grad too. So he had moved on, so I kind of took his spot. It was just magic at the time. But you know, that learning experience, I had kids coming in that were really, really good at a young age.
Sure.
I had to keep up with them.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Oh, it humbles you for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they come in. I remember like
and you become so much better as a teacher.
Oh yeah, yeah, and like this line. One we all dread.
Yeah.
Well, I learned from a friend of mine a better voicing on that last chord.
I do like that voicing.
Isn't that voicing great?
Yeah.
So I'm, you know, he said he wanted to learn. This was a guy named Todd. He said, yeah, I want to learn Stairway to Heaven. And I was like, well, okay, you know, let's go, you know. So I taught him the intro, and I taught him. I'd forgotten the original chord. I hit the F major 7 there, and he's like, okay. So he comes back the next week.
It does work.
It gets an A on top. Gets the 3rd on top.
Yeah.
So he comes back the next week, right? Now, Mark, that's not right. And I was like, well, yeah, the chord is definitely right. And he goes, no, it goes like this.
Right.
Yeah. That's the right chord, you know? And I was like, okay, this kid's going to go far. He ended up he got a full ride at Westminster Choir College. As composition. You know, because he had ears. He had ears at 14 years old. So, you know, as a teacher, you know, those things are instrumental in building you as a guitarist, like you just said.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, since you have a teaching background, and I want to play a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, we should.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. So, because this is obviously mostly an educational channel.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I figured.
So let's talk about that you were doing that D minor 7 to G7 type thing.
Oh yeah, the 2/5.
Yeah, and you said it's an easy thing for beginners to kind of start soloing over.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's talk. What is your approach, kind of soloing over that? Like, how would you kind of recommend
Oh,
Like,
as a beginner? Okay.
or just in general.
Just in general. Well,
because I
I
want
have
to play
more positions, I have more level than a beginner would have. All right, so let's break it out into the idea of a beginner. On a D minor, I would just tell them to go to the 10th fret.
Yeah.
And it's 1 4 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 4 1 4.
Right.
And just keep on playing.
D minor
those things.
pentatonic.
D minor pentatonic, and just keep on playing those things till it starts to sound good to you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And really, I mean, you know, and then try a bend.
But beyond that, though,
There.
when you see that dominant 4,
yes.
what are you thinking?
I can go anywhere. I really can go anywhere. One of my favorite lines off the
That's so funny because I think like one specific thing.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I'll show you.
Good.
So like when I see this, I'm obviously thinking D minor, right?
Of course.
Right. When I see this, typically your 4 chord's minor. If your 1 chord's minor, right? If you're in a minor key.
Yeah. See, but I
right?
don't see 4. I see 5.
So typically when I'm thinking here, I'm thinking this is a 1 to a 4. My root movement is right.
Yeah, I got you.
And then so I'm thinking 1 minor.
See, I learned something here today.
And so when I see this, I'm thinking there's a major 3rd in there. That note, that B, that's 6. I'm thinking that's a 6.
Wow.
I'm thinking that's
wow.
I'm thinking that's Dorian. So I'm thinking the whole key to this is there's my 3rd over the 1 chord. Here's my 3rd over the 4 chord. That is what I'm thinking all day long.
Wow. Don't think that at all. I don't think that at all.
So play the progression.
So, I got chords, you got notes?
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm thinking D minor, right?
Nice.
Right? That
Yep,
note
I hear
goes
you.
one.
Yep.
That's like when I see that, like I'm just thinking those 2 thirds. That's all I'm thinking.
Wow. See, I don't think that at all. Okay.
This
so,
is why I have people like you over. So what are
Yeah.
you thinking over that? It doesn't have to be for beginners.
Hang on one second.
Like that. chances that you take.
Yes, it's fun.
Yes,
oh my God, it's so much fun.
I love that. But no, that's so funny. This is, for those of you guys watching, like, this is the exact reason I love having so many different types of players come over. Because just a simple 2 chords like that.
Oh yeah.
And have people just view it so differently.
Right.
You know, and just play completely different things and think different things. I just love it.
Yeah. A lot of the influences that I hear in your playing are definitely got that LA kind of cool thing happening, which on the East Coast, you know, you get thrown into the rock thing, you know, quite easily into the blues line. So it's taken me a long time to find this, what I call the sweet notes.
Yeah.
You know, and then the passing notes.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of that comes from jazz, where, you know, it's like just on simple things like. Something along those lines. It's been a long time on that one, but the idea is. So you try to weave the line with the sweet notes.
Yeah.
You know, and I had a guitar teacher years ago who just like hit you with a stick. I mean, literally with a stick, drumstick. You had one right next to him, Chris Phoebus.
Like literally hits you.
Yeah, if you
we need to bring that back. The world needs more of that.
Oh yeah,
I mean, we need to get back to hitting people.
I'm telling you, he was an amazing guitarist. He was the studio guitarist on Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini, 1963. That was his claim to fame, and the mother could play.
Yeah.
I mean, we would do Bach duets.
Yeah.
Okay, and he was like a real big swing guy.
Oh, yeah?
Real big swing guy, and we'd play it straight, and all of a sudden you hear him go, you know, which is beret, but he would just throw these dotted, you know, the broken triplet, you know, and you know, I find today that there's a lot of players that just don't know the difference between a shuffle and a swing, and how to get the right feel to a shuffle.
Well, let me ask you that. So, I mean, I don't know if you're going to have an answer for this, because I don't necessarily have the best answer for this. But how do you work on something like that?
Oh.
Like when you're telling students, like, where do you start? Like, you know, because you can say, you know, a shuffle, you know, the triplet, just take out the middle beat, just trip, lit, trip, just pulling out the pull.
Do it, yeah.
You know what I mean? But like when you had students, how would you get them to work on feel?
Feel. Yeah.
Besides just listening to a lot of stuff and playing with a lot of people.
Yeah. One thing that I've always done is, like back in the day, I had a record collection of probably like 1,000 records. I mean, my first Burger King paycheck was to buy a record. Quite honestly, right? And it just went from there. But
back when there were record stores.
Yeah, back when actually I bought it at a Bell's Pharmacy. They had a record rack. But yeah, feel is really, really tough, and the only way to emulate feel is to copy it until you get it.
Yeah.
So like I remember there was a book by Mel Bay, and people poo-poo Mel Bay, but when I was growing up, that was really the only thing you had, and so he had this, you know, this book called How to Play Jazz Melodies. Okay, and he gave you a melody like Mary Had a Little Lamb. All right. And he said, now, you know, I want you to play it, you know, play it as it is, and then do it with more of a swing feel, you know, and write it out, literally write it out, copy what I've got, but now make the first note longer and the second note shorter on everything, you know. So that was kind of interesting, and then you know, I've always listened to jazz. I mean, Benny Goodman. I listened to Benny Goodman when I was like 7 years old.
Really?
Yeah, my parents had this wonderful record collection, and man, my dad was into big band. Yeah, my dad was really into music, so.
So okay, so your parents played?
No, my mom can plink on a piano for all day, but it's all hymns. You know, she'd just go all day, all night. My dad apparently played trumpet when he was younger, but he had an unbelievable appreciation for music.
So music was always in the house.
Somehow, some way.
Somebody was always playing something.
It was either radio, the records.
Yeah.
And
now, when you were that young, even like 7, would your dad be like, "This is Benny Goodman"? Like,
no, not at all. He just put it on.
Well, no, I'm always so fascinated because, like, as a parent, my oldest is 7, and I'm just, I always kind of, straddle that line of, I want them to love music.
Yeah.
I want the instruments to be accessible, but at the same time, I don't want to jam it down their neck. You know what I mean? So I play it in the house a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is James Brown. This
soul.
Yeah. Dude, we're big on the James Brown dance parties in our house.
Oh, very cool. See, but that's what gets them going. They
gotta get the energy. So you gotta play Hot Pants.
Yeah. You know the story about his players, James Brown's players?
Go on. The finding of them?
No. Yeah, the finding of them. He would put his hand up, right? And it didn't matter where it was in the tune, all right? And if you didn't make the hit, when his hand went up, you got fined $5.
Yeah.
And when you were only making $35, it went really quick.
All right, so let's move on and talk about your gear.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that's what a lot of people want. Everybody gigs, everybody has different types of gigs, and everybody's got different rigs.
Yeah.
So let's talk about why you play what you play and what it is.
Okay.
So let's start one with the guitar. So.
Oh, okay.
Just because that thing's gorgeous, it's green. Now I'm assuming that you started playing Pure S through your wife Jean.
Yes, absolutely.
Who by the way is a phenomenal person. I know.
And a phenomenal player.
Well, see, I want to get out to see you guys play.
Oh, you have to.
No, because I want to know. I want to see her play and know that personality of her. Because
she's fun on stage. She becomes very different. She plays the stage. We had a drum riser. We were at Twain's Tavern the other night, and it's the first time we had a drum riser on stage in years.
Yeah.
And there's a couple things we do. We call this comes from an old rock band. It was called Twinning. Where we're both playing like the same line.
Yeah.
And she jumps up on the drum riser, and I think it was. From that Tom Petty thing.
Right.
Well, we play that. She's playing it on sax, and we play that a couple times together, and then we trade.
Yeah.
Right. I give her 8 bars. She gives me 8 bars. Then we go down to 4 bars of 4 bars, and then we hit the big ending. Right. But here we are, like we played to 5,000 in our head.
Yeah.
Man, whenever I'm on stage and she's with me,
and
we're
it's
playing
so
to 5,000.
cool that you guys can do that together.
And we've been doing it since '79, dude.
Dude, that's so awesome. So like my wife is completely not musically inclined whatsoever, and it's like when I go, we were talking about this before. When I go and play, it's kind of like that's like my zone.
Oh, okay.
And then but it's so cool that you can share that zone.
Sure.
That's very neat. But anyway, why this guitar?
Why this guitar? Okay. This for all the PRSs, I had the advantage of going in to the factory, and she hooked me up with.
Had you played one before?
Years and years ago.
She started working there.
No, not really. Years and years ago, I was playing in a jazz quartet with Gene, and so I was used to the big box jazz guitars.
Gotcha.
All right.
What did you used to play?
It was an Ibanez Howard Roberts pre-lawsuit.
Okay.
Which I just passed on to Guitar Center for a new George Benson.
Mm-hmm.
But jazz guitars are basically acoustic guitars that pickups were put on.
Yeah.
All right. So they had their own volume. They had their own nuances. They had a certain sound.
Mm-hmm.
I like this type of bridge. Well, not this, but you don't have anything here, but it's more of a tunematic bridge.
Gotcha.
So I never liked the wooden bridges. Number one, it's an intonation issue with me.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, it's more of a flat sound, so I like the metal to metal bite. So my first PRS was up in Jersey, and I had met a guy that was at, I guess he was at Guitar Center, and they said, "Oh, we just got these new hollow bodies in. It's like a great jazz guitar." And Paul makes his guitars phenomenal. Right? There's no doubt it played really well, but the top was thick. And when you play a jazz guitar, it's like an acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
The thinner, the better.
You want it to resonate.
You want it to move.
Yeah.
All right, and then you get a different sound quality when you have a cavity.
Yeah.
All right, but you don't get that live quality where the back and the front are moving.
Yeah.
Synonymous, together. All
Got
right. So that was my first. I love the neck. I love the tone coming out of an amp. But when I strummed it, it was just kind of dead.
Yeah.
So here we are years and years later, and this is really Jean's guitar. She's at every couple of years, I think it's 2 and 7, the employee gets to pick their guitars.
So cool.
Yeah, it is really. And so, being the resident guitarist in our house, she was like, "Okay, well, what do you think?"
Yeah.
And so I went down and I played a 22 custom, and I played a 24, and I played the Santana, and I played, I don't like heavy guitars, I don't like light guitars, I like something that's, like the old Les Pauls that were like logs.
Bricks, yeah.
Yeah, they'd hurt your shoulder after
Sure.
a night, Strats are, that's what I was playing at when I got this. I had a 5961 reissue from, I don't know when it was reissued, but I'm going to say, late 90s, early 2000s. Phenomenal instrument. Plays great, loved it, but I played the DGT, and it's a David Grissom model. And the reason I like it is I've always, when I had 335s, it's dual volume controls. Okay, so mostly I run with this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and
You keep it.
I just mix the pickup sounds the way I like it. Now, depending on the tune. I mean, if I'm banging out a Van Halen thing or something like that, it's going here.
Right. Sure.
But if I've got some quality and some taste to a song that I'm looking for some sonic quality, like this is one of my favorite just general patches. So it's like. So if you play it in that position, you get. It's kind of bright. It's kind of ringy. All right, but it's not. Doesn't have that body that I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it's got a bigger, fuller sound. And then when you go into the lead patch on that. All right.
Yeah.
Versus. That's more like. That's got more of that going.
Yeah.
So that's why this guitar in particular.
Okay.
All right. No other modifications. Color is stock. They do certain things for her anniversaries
That top is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a 10 top.
That's definitely a 10.
Yeah, and it's custom built for Gene Nooney. It says here right on the back, which is really kind of cool.
That is so cool.
So that's why this is the primary instrument. I'm getting the Strat. I need the Strat refretted, and since these pickups are so darn powerful, right? That I've tried using a booster, all that good stuff, and I lose the quality of the Strat when I jump into a booster.
It's hard.
Right.
It's hard to go back and forth.
Yeah.
It's almost like if I'm playing the single coil, like I'm not bringing the other guitar to the gig.
Right, because it's just going to destroy it.
Yeah, and as soon as I feel you, as soon as you pick it up, you're just like, this just doesn't have it.
It just doesn't have it. I mean, even the new Silver Cloud.
Yeah.
That phenomenal instrument.
Instrument.
We listened to your breakdown of it, and so then Gene finally got one to bring home for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Because they were rolling in and out. All the people.
I know it's screaming down there at the factory. Right. I know.
So I got to play it, and I did it like Strat to Strat, just like you did.
Yeah.
And I was like, my God, this is dead on.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, it's a volume issue, right? So it's almost like we want 2 amps.
Yeah.
So because you can turn up the amp and keep the single coil sound, but as soon as you go to a booster pedal, you lose that single coil sound.
Yeah.
You know, so right now I'm in the process. I'm going through pickups. I got a new pick guard for it, and I got this new trem blender, I think it's called. And what it allows you to do in position 2 and 4, it allows you to mix 1 and 5. So that which you can't do on a Strat any way, shape, or form.
Right.
So I listened to a couple videos on it, and I was like, yeah, I can put that.
And
in.
that's a cool sound.
I haven't heard it yet. I just bought it all. I saw it on Sweetwater is where they do some really in-depth stuff, and you can really if you want to hear stuff,
Oh yeah, they have a video for basically everything.
Yeah, basically. So that's a good place that I use as a resource, and then I'll hit YouTube. I'll go out to the manufacturers, but it's always dependent on the speakers of your computer.
True. It is so true.
So I'm in the middle of that, but so with rig stuff, that changed this whole scene down here.
Well, let's talk about what you got going on rig wise.
Yeah, I've always been a proponent of. I still am a proponent of guitar synthesizer. I had one of the first 707s back in the 80s and used it a lot. But a friend of mine had let me borrow a multi-effects that was in one rack. All right, and prior to that, you had the like kind of pedal spread, and you found one distortion pedal that was really great, but it was always the same sound, and then you had to get another distortion pedal if you wanted a good chunky rhythm sound, but you wanted a great lead sound, and then the compressors and the different sort of flangers and choruses, what have you. So I've always been kind of big on the one box idea, and I went out and I heard this TC Electronic Nova, and number one, it comes with a massive amount of built-in sounds, but when you're playing in a cover band,
I'm gonna grab a shot. Keep talking.
Sure. When you're playing in a cover band, you really kind of have to be able to go through things fairly quickly, even within song. So you have this wonderful, cool little sound, and let's say you're doing "Not My Dog, Stay Away." Really works for that section, but when you get to "Who It Can It Be Now," you really want "Who Can It Be Now? Who Can It Be Now?" So that's the very, and I switch. These are like the two main pieces. All right. This I use for mostly like 80s type rock, like this would be a good one.
Do you sing that one live? What?
No. Actually, our Elizabeth, our singer from Wheelhouse, does that. So,
I was gonna say that's a big tune.
That's a great tune. We love that tune.
That's
we
a
love
big
that
song.
tune. So those are those basic sounds, and this is all kind of like this is a. Very short reverb, and everything's programmable on them. So it's like, the only thing I can't get is like two choruses or like really exotic sounds to it. And then just your basic blues. More of the treble. And then a little bit more edgy, which is different than, well, at least in my ear it is. That's what's maybe I programmed that one a little bit too much. And then you always need the killer lead sound.
Yeah.
You want something that stands out just a little bit, has the echoes, has everything that you're looking for. It just goes on forever. Now, one of my other toys, this is like so cool.
The Freeze?
The Freeze. All right.
I'm unfamiliar with the Freeze. You literally just freeze whatever you play, and when you pick your foot up,
It goes away.
How
It's a
cool is
sustain
that?
pedal. It's a sustain pedal for guitars.
But you know what? I bet you actually find some use for that.
I use it all the time.
You know, because I'm thinking, like, if you're playing, are you the only guitar player in the
Yes.
band? Yeah, so, like, because Gene also plays keys, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But those are the two main harmony instruments, right?
Yes,
so when she's
exactly.
playing sax and you take a lead, sometimes I can see you
Right.
popping on the freeze.
Oh, yeah.
How cool
And
is that?
it's more like, it's even on kind of like funky stuff. Let me find a good patch.
It sounds like it's swelling a little bit.
It's a Bucket Brigade delay pedals, really, like the old analog pedals. That how they achieved it was called Bucket Brigade.
Yeah,
what
I'm
they would do
familiar
would
with
go
that.
boom, boom, boom. It would go from one little capacitor or one. I don't know the internals. All right, I'm not that much of a geek, but it would pass the sound. Okay, so one of the things that this does is it freezes it and throws it into kind of a loop. So wherever you grab the chord, if you grab it like. The chords have time to develop, right? So you get this, you hear the third, you hear the seventh, and it's just kind of this washer sound.
Yeah.
But if you grab it right from the beginning, it's just looping it over and over and over again. And you really don't hear the start or the end to it.
Gotcha.
But I found, and maybe it's just because I played for like a year and a half now, that I'm a little bit more adept at it. There it is. Yeah. Different quality of sound.
Yeah.
So it's whatever harmonic it grabbed at that point in time.
Right.
So it's there's another pedal out that it's not in production yet, and that's why I'm not buying it. But I played it at the NAMM show 2 years ago, and it literally is a box that literally records it, and so it looks like a piano sustain pedal. I forget the name of it right now. I have his card, and he was doing one of those new things that people are doing, startups, fundraiser startups or something like that.
Yeah.
All right, but it was a great idea because it literally grabbed whatever tonal quality. That's really nice, but it could be in a live situation. It goes by in a blink of an eye. It's what I've learned in a while. But the whole idea is that the purpose of this is to do exactly what I was showing and demonstrating. So literally, as a trio, if you were playing bass on those two chords, and the drummer was just, right? In all likelihood, it's going to be definitely a bigger sound. So that's why I like that a lot. It's a very cool sound. I originally played the Ego, and then they came up with the Super Ego, and I always thought, wow, it'd be really cool if you could put effects on the back end of just the chain, and Electro Harmonics came out with it, so I'm not ready to go there yet, but it's bigger, and I'm tight on the board as it is. I got the looper because I was thinking that you could use it in a band situation, and
do you?
No, I find it, it's so sad.
I'm thinking I'm gonna use it. Use it? No.
No, I got it. I did the cheap reverb thing, so I got it for like a third of the price. But it's a great idea, but the band has to be so in tune.
It's got to be perfect.
It's got to be perfect and if you don't kick it at the right time, So I'm thinking of pulling it out of the rig now and dropping back in something else that'll give me a little more variability, more special sounds.
That's why I'm always amazed with people that gig with tracks or some type of other thing like that, because someone's got to be playing with the click or something, because it's got to be like perfect.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys track at all?
No, none. And it can be a challenge sometimes because, certain intros, have to be dead on, and if you fall out by a 16th, or you fall out even by a 32nd, it's you hear it.
Yeah.
And it takes forever to get it, tightened up. You know?
Yes,
We
it
saw a
does.
band down in Key West. Okay, and their claim to fame was that they played all the '80s videos behind them while they were playing.
When it got out of sync,
Well, no, because the drummer.
kept the click in.
Well, no, he had the tune in his head.
Oh, so he's just playing
know,
with it.
He was like plugged into the computer. The computer was shining on the thing.
He's doing work back there.
He's working. He's working really hard.
He's working really
And you
hard.
can see the rest of the band. I mean, if they drop the chord, you're like, oh, no matter, because
It's playing.
It's playing. We could stand up here and just go, like this all night. And it was a cool idea. I always thought that would be a marketing genius thing, but there is downsides to it.
Oh, sure. I mean, if anything goes wrong, I mean, you're screwed.
You're screwed. Your whole show is down.
I mean, I've seen bands, even around here, but especially up, like Jersey, New York area, where you'll see them almost like change outfits mid-set and do stuff around, and the tune's still going, and it's very clear they're not playing it.
Yeah.
But man, they get big gigs.
Oh yeah.
Because they got the lights,
because
they got
it's
the
show. It's all show.
One
One thing that we all have to remember is that we're musicians and we're guitarists, and yes, this is what we're all about. But we're entertainers.
Yeah.
It really. I mean, I had one band leader very clearly tell me, he says, "I don't care how well you play guitar. It matters to us. It does not matter to them.
Yeah.
It does not matter to them at all. So if you're staring at your shoes and you're shoegazing, you're uninteresting. I don't need you."
Yeah. One of my I don't know who said it, but it's this really famous old jazz musician, and I was watching, got caught in a YouTube vortex.
Oh yeah.
As you do.
Oh yeah. One to the next. To the next.
And he was doing a master class for some jazz program at some school, and he was like, when we went out to see anybody, we went and saw them at dance halls.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You went to see Charlie Parker. He was playing at a dance hall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's and that's the point. People are out to not be working. They're out to have a drink, to have fun, dance, and do whatever.
I agree.
And it's very easy to forget that and get lost of, what note is next.
Well, yeah.
All
of us. We're entertainers. You have to be up there. You got to give them something to look at.
Yeah.
Standing. You could be the best guitarist in the world, but if you don't know how to get out at the front of the stage and,
Right.
Right. Because people, they're expecting a show. That's why
they respond to energy.
They respond to energy, exactly. So that's why I say, in my head, Jean said it the other night, she says, I couldn't tell how many people were out there. And we had a great crowd at Twain's, but she says, I couldn't tell how many people were out there, so I just went into my, I'm playing for 1 million people head.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do. I don't care if you have 3 people out there cheering you on.
That's
those 3 people are going to get the show.
Yeah,
they're going
exactly.
to get the show. And I find that to get like-minded musicians like that is tough.
For sure.
It's like the journeymen, they don't care. They're going to play to the best of their ability, and they're going to be phenomenal. And, if there's any part of it that they can show, like, a drummer, spinning sticks, doing the big endings, to me, I think that's when you're out doing a band, at least with our style band, Wheelhouse, we cover, what our little claim to fame is, we cover tunes that no other bands cover. We don't do...
Let's talk about that a little more. I want to hear, because like I said, I've never been out to see you guys, but I want to now, since I'm not gigging all the time now.
Okay, yeah, you're not, right.
I always make the joke with everybody that comes through here. It's like, anybody that is working all the time, and if you work all the time, you never see anybody else.
Right. I agree. You don't know how many people I did not see in Texas. I could have seen Eric Johnson in a venue that held 40 people.
Dude.
Right? And every time he came through town, we were working.
Yeah. Well, tell me about Wheelhouse, and then I want to play one more.
Oh, cool. All right.
So tell everybody about Wheelhouse.
So we're a 5-piece band. We started out about 5 years ago, with the idea that we really wanted to play the music that touched us. All right, and Gene and I really kind of put it all together in the beginning. The idea is we wanted to do Toto, we wanted to do Steely Dan, we wanted to do Carole King.
Really?
We wanted to do we Huey Lewis and the News.
That is one of the best bands.
Unbelievably good.
Dude, Huey Lewis had such a good band.
Oh.
And he's such a killer harmonica player.
Oh, amazing! I mean, so we do 3 or 4 of them, and and we try to like I said, we try to pick tunes that when you go, oh my God, they did, or I can't believe you played that, or most of the compliments we get is just, I love your set list, because, like I said, we don't specialize in one genre or another. We pick good tunes.
That's so good to hear, though, because being on the cover band circuit, especially because we all play the same places.
Oh yeah.
I feel like every band has the same, I guess, maybe 30 songs. You got to have American Girl. You got to have all the staples.
Sure.
But then there's a very small amount of kind of that differentiates this band from the other. But everybody pretty much has to stick to the same staples. And like all the songs you've mentioned so far, I don't play, or I haven't been in a band that plays, but also haven't seen other bands play around in this area.
Yeah.
So that's cool that you guys can do that in the same, literally the same bars.
Oh yeah, and it's taken a while for us to catch on with that idea, but now people are, we have.
Was it slow moving at first because of that?
No, because I'm just a booking maniac. Like I'll go out and sell. It's really what if you're going to be in a band.
Did I mention we have a sax player?
Yeah, did I mention that? Tall blonde sax player and a voluptuous female singer. I mean, we've got the front line. I just happen to sing and play guitar. I'm there, but we know where the real focus of the band is. And it makes a huge difference. And
of course it does.
And with flute, it's like Adventures of a Lifetime. We do that, all right? And that.
So Jean plays flute as well on the gigs?
Oh, well, yeah. She
so
brings
sax,
everything.
flute, and keys.
Yeah.
What, does she do anything else?
Ocarina. No, not ocarina. What's the heck that thing called? Oh yeah, she just got it. It's called an aerophone. It's a synthesized.
I got to come out to see you guys.
And then she does background vocals. We're real big on 3-part harmonies.
Gotcha.
Huge.
So you have a female lead.
Right. We switch off leads. She does. It's like 60-40 during a set.
And you do the other leads. And then Jean does the third part.
Right, and she also does what we call the specials. She has like 2 tunes right now that gets one. She gets in at least 2.
She gets a couple Jean specials.
Yeah, she does Jean specials.
Like
but and why? Show.
Yeah.
It's all about the show. I mean, we want people to go, oh my God, that girl can do anything, or you are the best guitarist I've heard in a long time, or Elizabeth, holy crap, you play congas and you got a voice from like God, because she's got a huge voice and she really sings well. And we've noticed over the years that our harmonies are starting to tighten up to where we can just drop into stuff.
Yeah. Get to know each other, get to know your zone.
Yeah, and it's like Tennessee whiskey. We do that. All right, we just started doing that, and more for the Eastern Shore crowd, and it's a great song. You wouldn't think. Yeah,
it's a killer tune.
And it's that soulful, bluesy thing.
I'm a sucker for those 6/8 country ballads.
Oh yeah,
that's like
they just lay it right down.
That's my.
When a man loves a woman, right, falls right into that. But so that's our band. We have Rick Duncan on bass, who's been with us since the beginning. Our first show was actually the Bridge Race. PRS sponsored the music for that.
Okay, yeah.
So that was our first show years ago, and that's where we got the core of the band. The 4 of us have been together that long. Our original drummer decided that he had other obligations with family, moved on. We picked up Mike Mann on drums, who he's been around for a long time playing gigs. He's a really solid rock drummer. So we have 90 tunes that are currently in the inventory. And the tough part about having that many songs is that you can only do, 40, 45 in a night.
Right.
So like we did a 3-fer, what we call a 3-fer. We were at Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, which we were all dead on Monday.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
We got to really almost get through the whole list,
right?
Which was a lot of fun. And then you see where your problems are. You see what tunes aren't up to snuff. You power through them, and people come up and compliment you on it. But that it's that internal band thing.
Sure.
That you go. We all know. Somebody dropped something here. Somebody didn't get the beginning to that there. I started in the wrong fret. That's like the worst thing, right?
F sharp.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So our set lists here, like what I do for our set list is. Everyone gets one of these, all right? So
it was very kind of you.
Yeah. So we do the name of the tune, the metronome marking,
Do you have a click?
Nope. It's for the drummer to give it a zone, a range. Because really, when you start a tune too fast, the words are hard to sing. If you start it too slow, you're dying.
Yeah.
Right? So this gives him...
So he's got a pretty good idea of
yeah,
what 152 sounds like.
Yeah, well, he knows it needs to be faster.
Yeah.
And, you know, where he's thinking.
Gotcha.
You know, and then the key.
Yeah.
Or the first chord, depending on the song. But yeah, I mean, just to give you an idea, like Bodhisattva, okay? Fun tune. Great to solo over. Oh my God, you know, it's like you're going from E flat to A7 sharp 5 to D minor to F to E flat to D F to G.
Too much.
It's way too many chords. Born to Run because it features the sax. Dude. You know?
Yeah.
We just learning to fly because, you know, we're in Foo Fighter land.
Yeah.
You know? The Ocean. You know? And to hear us do The Ocean is, this is a Zeppelin tune if you're not familiar with it, is Gene's playing sax on it.
Mm-hmm.
She's and we're twinning it.
Yeah.
And that's just a whole bunch of fun.
Yeah.
You know, so, and like I said, Adventures of a Lifetime, the opening line is, which was done on synthesizer in the album. She just automatically picked up her flute because that's the go-to. And it's the right timbre.
And it would work.
And it does. It works great, you know. And the tough part about the 5-piece band, when she's on flute like that, the poor girl has to jump. Flute to keys is not hard. It's in the same key range, right? C to C.
Okay.
B flat tenor.
Yeah.
You know, you're playing in an entirely different key than the rest of the band because that's how tenors are, right? So it's a whole step up from us. So if we're in D, she's in E. Okay?
Gotcha.
And then if she has to go back to keyboards, she has to switch mentally to get back to D. You know, E flat alto. She's actually a 6th difference to us.
So
brain wise.
So Jean's even sharper than I think she is.
She's very sharp. Very sharp.
All right, let's play one more.
Do you know Wooden Post? go for the. I always like sitting on the last surprising note.
I like that. Well, that was a lot of fun, man.
Dude, thank you so much for having me.
Dude, pleasure. Mark Nooney, everybody.
Thank
you
you.
can find him at, what is it, Wheelhouse.rocks?
Yes, Wheelhouse.rocks is our schedule. We're pretty full for the summer. We're booked all
Yeah,
the way
you guys
through
are
December.
slammed.
Yeah,
I saw your calendar. I was like, busy. Very busy.
Busy. We're
Where are you next?
okay. We're at in August. We are at the Jetty. We are at the Harbor Shack up in Rock Hall. We are at the marina up in where Jellyfish Joe's is, but the marina side of it.
Tolchester over there.
No, not Tolchester. There's another marina. Mears. It's Mears Marina.
Oh, okay.
Let me see. Where else? Ram's Head coming up. They might put us in residency for the month of November through April, once a month.
Awesome.
Yeah, we like Ram's Head a lot. It's an interesting room. It's great people, great beer.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Haney is a tremendous individual. He really supports live music. I suggest if you want to go hear live music in the wintertime, that's the place to go for sure. Where else? Some privates. We're starting to fall into that private world, where, which is nice because people are hiring you for what they've heard.
Yeah.
And they're willing to spend the money on it. So that's the one thing, guys. Never work for free.
No.
It's like oh, I could do that. We should do that because it would be fun to play. And it's like you go to do that at jam sessions. Be a professional, be musicians. You're out there. You've spent a lot of time on your art. You spend a lot of time with your band. All right, you should get paid for it. And there's no other look. I came from Jersey. We got paid for everything.
We'll leave it at that, my friend.
Thank you very much. Hey,
Mark
thank you,
Nooney, everybody.
Take care.